Yeah, it's been 10 years. 10 years since I haven't actually it's been over 10 years, I should say. It's been over 10 years since I haven't dated anybody, so anyways. Anyways. Let's get a going, shower.
Sorry about that. Morning coffee, you know, gotta get the juices flowing.
Why Gen Z not having sex,
in
man?
today's video, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be taking a look at this video titled Why Gen Z is Having Less Sex Than Other.
I tell you why, man. It's the AI waifus, man. AI waifus, the Love and Deep Space husbandos, Genshin Impact, Rule 34. What else can I think of off the top of it? Nikkei Rule 34. What other thing I can think of? It's just a lot of fucking shit. It's just literally just people aren't fucking, man. They aren't fucking.
Generations. And honestly, I can't wait to see what this video has to say about this issue, because I already have my own thoughts of which I'm gonna chime in with.
That's pretty true, actually. That's very true. Actually, you know, the fun thing about it too as well, it's completely different in VR chat. In VR chat, almost like 95% of people in VR chat are horny. So, and if I'm remembering correctly too as well, they are Gen Z people too. Because I meet a lot of Gen Zers in VR chat. So a lot of them are very intimate.
But without further ado, let's get into this.
A 20-year-old man swipes furiously at two different phones, his eyes darting between Tinder and Hinge. It's a race against time.
Well, the problem is, remember, the last couple of years, men have been scrutinized from women for a couple of years now. Like, you can't compliment someone without a woman, like, flipping the fuck out, you know? And saying, like, oh, this is sexual harassment and blah, 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 you know? Remember back in, like, the old days where you see a hot woman passing by and you see a bunch of guys going, like, you know, they do that or so, right? And now you can't even do that now these days, because we kind of you guys kind of like progressed backwards instead of forward, you know? Like, because to be honest, that was a compliment to a woman who's hot and attractive, you know? But now these days it's like, ew, you're a pervert. How dare you whistle to me? Blah, 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 blah. Sexual harassment, blah, 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 blah. You know? But that's pretty much about it. It's so weird. It's so weird how you guys like progressed downwards as a species instead of going upwards as a species. It's so mind-boggling to see it, because I've witnessed it. I've witnessed it completely, and it's so weird to see it. Like, it's just so weird to kind of like see you guys going like trajectory downwards instead of going upwards as a society, you know? Because all of this like stuff that's been coming out or so recently about like Trump and all this audit and shit of the government and everything, how you guys are like, how like not you guys, but like the Americans have been spending absurd amount of money in like different countries for no apparent reason and not literally helping out your guys' citizens. What makes it so funny, America probably would have been maybe close to finishing their debt if you guys weren't sending money to godforsaken who knows other places for no apparent reason whatsoever. So I don't know, like I said, the void is different, you know, and you guys are something, all right, to be honest. Our funds are being misappropriated. Yeah, your guys' funds are being sent out to the stratosphere, basically, instead of helping, you know, your own kind, your own citizens. You know, they decided to send it off to fucking who knows where, you know? So, that's pretty much about it. But yeah, it's very interesting to see you guys just overall, like, having, like, from, like, males getting scrutinized, the downfall of the Democratic Party, well, the mask off, basically, and that sort of nature. But yeah. It's kind of weird. It's very interesting though. But you know, the funny thing about it is like VR chat, it's like the complete opposite though when it comes to like yeah, you got your moments or so where some girls are kind of like stupid bitchy bimbos, you know. I've met some of those. I've met some like that where they kind of like block me or so because I'm like another girl or so, and they think I'm taking their guy or something like that, even though I'm not doing anything. Let me see. What would be the other thing? But like, oh yeah, but like a lot of VR chat people are pretty horny, to be honest, because there's a lot of people mostly in a lot of private worlds now these days.
He needs to find someone to have sex with that night.
Nah, that's some creepy ass shit, bro. Why are you so desperate, man? You got 2 phones on 2 different dating apps at the same time. Like, this gotta be a different level of down bad.
Has to. The phone pings. He has a match, and he's out the door to continue his no-holds-barred, orgy-like lifestyle. At least that's what parents and the media believe is happening.
But let's be honest, we all know that for the vast majority of young men out here, that is not happening, bro. Unless you some handsome ass dude, chiseled jawline, goddamn looking like.
It's funny because, you know, a lot of guys think they're gonna like smash and everything like that, so it's pretty hilarious to kind of see that.
Handsome Squidward in the face. It's probably not happening that
You already
fast.
know the answer to that, Chaos. You don't even know you don't even need to respond to that.
Adult Gen Zers are having less sex and staying virgins longer than any generation before them at their age. So, what happened?
Imagine my shock. A generation full of people that don't touch grass, bro. That didn't have parents that prepared them for the world. That has the highest concentration of gooners than any other generation that came before them. It's having
That's so true. There has been a way ton more gooners recently. Oh my god, man. That's just crazy.
sex than the previous generations. Shocking.
Gen Z, those born between 1997 and 2012, is gaining a reputation for their supposed prudish attitudes towards sex. But aren't they supposed to be the most sexually open and progressive generation? So which is it?
Listen, although Gen Z might be one of the most progressive generations of all time, freest thinking, open-minded, we gotta admit, we are also the generation that invented e-sex, or at least the ones that made it popular, like you.
Oh my god, dude, that is so fucking true, man. Fucking VR. I wonder if, I doubt he'll mention it, but VR chat is like one of the most popular ones for like e-sex and everything.
You got
Hey,
people
Benz.
really out here busting nuts to pixels. Like, think about that for a sec. Pixels, my nigga.
For Gen Z, growing up meant being surrounded by sexual imagery and having instant access to porn, literally at the click of a button.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
18-year-old high school student Lillian shares her perspective. A lot of heterosexual porn always felt graphic. There was always an element of violence to it, and I never truly felt like any of the women
Violence?
or AFAB individuals in it.
Violence? What the fuck are you watching? What you watching? What are you watching, huh? What's your search history? After 50 Shades of Grey, BDSM searches on Pornhub jumped to 30% for men and 186% for women. Yeah, it's more of a bigger thing for women, to be honest.
We're enjoying it, she says. That was very disturbing to me.
Yeah, honestly, that aspect of Gen Z kids growing up and having
That is also another thing too as well that I forgot to mention or so. It's just because life is just more expensive now these days, you know? You can't really just have sex, you know? You know, because like things are super expensive. That means the girl down the street or so, you know, she's gonna charge 20 times the amount now. 10 times the service, you know?
instant access to X-rated content and pornography en masse in such a
We
large
needed to
scale, in my
improvise.
opinion, was the worst thing to happen to any generation up until this point. Like, what did you think was going to happen to the psyche of a generation full of people with full and unfettered access to the worst and most disgusting content
16
ever? Like, this should not
times
be
the
shocking.
detail.
Porn for also making real-life sex off-putting, describing her experiences thus far as
Look, don't get me wrong, right? Like for me personally, like I got my moments, okay? I have my moments where I need to be, you know, where I need to, well, you know what I mean.
Model their moves on porn, flipping me over every 2 seconds because they watch a lot of mainstream porn. No wonder she doesn't want to have sex again.
Nah, that's some crazy shit right now. That last scene right there is crazy. Bro was literally dragging her to the other side of the bed like she was a slave running for freedom, bro. That's insanity.
In 2011, 22% of both men and women aged 18 to 30, millennials, reported having no sexual partners in the previous year. By 2021, 33% of women and 43% of men reported having no sexual partners in the last year.
Which
Whoa, that's crazy. Crazy. What the hell? Wow, that is a massive increase.
Basically means, to sum it up in the most basic way possible, not only has the percentage of sexlessness for the ages 18 to 30 have gone up since 2011, but also the gap between the genders has also widened by a margin of 10%, meaning the 10% discrepancy of women having more sex than men in that specific demographic either means there are multiple women out here in a relationship with the same guy knowingly or not, or those women are dating guys who are above the age of 30, which then just leaves that 10% surplus of guys between the ages of 18 to 30 with literally no options of having sex or any relationships, getting a girlfriend, because there's quite literally not enough human females who are single. So yeah, those guys are pretty much cooked, man. I don't know, man. Maybe they can look into getting a robot or something. Possibly an AI girlfriend if you're really desperate.
Hey man, I heard robo waifus are bringing the works right now. Okay, all right. We'll soon have our Eve from Stellar Blade and 2B from Nier Automata. We'll soon have them in real life, you know.
Another study found that Gen Z specifically reported less sex than millennials and Gen Xers. 25% of Gen Z
Gen X. What the fuck is Gen X? What is Gen X? Man, I don't know these terms. You guys have some like weird ass terms. Oh, from 1960 to 1980. I see. Okay.
adults said they have never had sex with a partner in their lives. Though rates of sexual activity are going down among both genders, there is a more pronounced difference with men, and a lot of people think it's a result of porn, loneliness, and lockdown.
I'm sure a lot of that has to contribute to all those factors. But primarily, I'm probably just gonna blame social media and internet access, because if social media and the internet wasn't as prevalent as it is and people were forced to go outside to have human interactions, then this likely would not be a problem. I mean,
I haven't had human an actual straight up actual when out. Like I never had a human interaction out or so. In over I think about over 12 years. It's been like over 12 years since I had actual real life interaction, hanging out outside of home. Yeah, it's been like over 12 years. Yeah. It's been over like 12 years or so. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have any IRL friends to go out. I don't go out. The only time I ever go out is to buy food or ingredients for cooking and everything like that. I don't really go to the store to buy anything, only if I'm like I said again, like if I only go out to buy food ingredients with Mama Azathoth, then if we pass by Walmart, you know, I'll maybe sometimes buy if they have it in stock or so, some like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff like that, but that's about it. Anything else besides that? Not really. I usually just stay home. I'm usually on the computer about 99% of the time, doing work, watching YouTube videos while working, edit videos while working, drawing maybe while working, working on a commission while working, watching videos, sometimes laying in bed, depends, but yeah.
Historically speaking, most people found their boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, significant others amongst friend groups, people they grew up with, school, work, church.
I don't have friend groups. All my friends from, at least from this world or so, not from the outer realms or so, but from this world or so, from high school, I have not contacted anyone. I haven't contacted anybody from high school in this realm. And since high school, I don't do any like group activities or whatever, clubs or anything like that they have around here. None of them really interests me as much, you know. So, because like at the end of the day, right? It's like, yeah, I could go to a music academy and like learn to play like instruments again, like relearn them again. But the problem is, right? The problem is with that, right? Number one, right? I have to pay for it, which I don't have the money or so. I don't have money to pay, so that's number one, right? Number two, I have to drive over there, and I don't want to drive over there because I'm just lazy. The only time I'll drive over there is when I'm like, you know, when I'm buying ingredients and stuff. Number three, what was number three again? I just don't have time. I honestly just don't have time to go over there and like to go drive somewhere, sacrifice my time or so to go drive over there. So yeah, that's about it. My hours of sleep has been so widely messed up that like, you know, I can't do that. So yeah.
And it was actually rare to even use dating apps and meet random people you didn't even know from a blue moon. Like I was like at the bottom of stats, and people would think you were weird for using dating apps like 20 years ago. But now the stats have just been completely flipped on its head, and now things are the worst that they've ever been.
During the pandemic, people stuck at home alone turned to porn and online content for sexual satisfaction. Psychologist Fred Rabinowitz said young men are watching a lot of social media, and they're watching a lot of porn, and they're getting a lot of their needs met without having to go out.
What is it? One of my guy friends, he doesn't watch porn. He watches hentai. Like he watches a freaking what is it, cartoon? Like not cartoons, but like what are they called? Oh yeah, SFM, yeah, source film media, right? I think that's what it's called. Yeah, SFM. So it's like Rule 34 stuff. Like he looks like he's like, he told me that he's not a fan. He's not really a huge fan of like porn or anything like that. But when he does actually like when he does actually watch porn, he has a specific, like he specifically watches either, like he told me, like we were having this stupid conversation one night because it was like head ass hours, right? It was like, this was like past like at like midnight or so. So anything usually past midnight, we talk about the most randomest shit ever, which is the most fucking hilarious thing ever, to be honest. I think it's pretty funny. That's why I like my guy friends. Some of my guy friends are so fucking funny. So he told me, right? He's like, oh yeah, you know, like I don't really watch like normal porn because I think it's boring most of the time, because hentai is just a lot more exciting. And then like, and I was like, oh yeah, really? Like, what's your preference? He's like, oh, I just like depends what I'm in the mood for. I either like Asians or blacks or Hispanics. Like Hispanics, he says like, yeah, my Hispanics would be like my third kind of I would watch, but like overall, I think I watch like Asian porn a lot more. I was like making fun of him. I was like, oh, so you're into the yellow fever, huh? You got the yellow fever? He's like, and then he was like, man, hey man, it's not my fault that Asians are pretty attractive. So, and I'm like, you know what? I'll give you that. I'll give you that. He's like, yeah, man. Hey, man. He told me, yeah, guilty as charged, man. Hey, man. At the end of the day, bro, I would smash, is what he said. He's like, I would smash, and I'm like, okay, all right, man. But that's barely is what he is. But he's not like he's addicted to it or anything. He just kind of like, you know, just jerks it off or so, just to get rid of his morning wood. It's the same guy. It's literally the same dude who has where I told you guys a story where his boner wouldn't go away. You know, like that's basically is what it is. Like his boner wouldn't go away the entire day, and he was just jerking it or so the entire day, and it just wouldn't disappear. So yeah. And that's pretty much about it. So yeah, no, his sexual stamina is through the fucking roof, you know. Like no joke. Like he can like he was like telling Grady told me a little too much in my personal opinion, but he told me that like, yeah, his boner was so rock hard that it would not go down whatsoever. No matter how many times he coom and everything like that, it would not go down. So he hated it. Apparently like, you know how like us girls or so, we sometimes have the mood or so where we want to be fertile and everything like that. He has the same thing. Like he kind of has the same thing because it happens sometimes like through the month sometimes, not all the time. Well, actually, how do I say this? Like through the month, like specific months, right? Specific months specifically, like he'll get like into the mood or so where he needs to like actually have like have intercourse, right? But then like three times out of the entire year, don't know when it happens is what he tells me. 3 times, apparently, his libido skyrockets through the fucking air, where literally he'll have that experience where he'll literally like straight up just jerk it off the entire day and it would not go away. The only way it would go away if he sits there and waits for like roughly maybe an hour, like about an hour or so, and then it'll disappear on its own. But man, he has to wait for like an hour or so for it. So I was like, damn, dude, that's crazy, dude. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's fucking crazy, to be honest, in my personal opinion. I'm like, I don't even know what to. He doesn't even know what to say. Like he straight up doesn't know what to say about it. You know, like for me, sometimes, you know, I get in my mood. That's crazy stamina. Yeah, it's crazy. I told him. I even said this, bro. I feel sorry whoever becomes your wife because I feel like you're gonna break your wife. And he started laughing so hard about it. he started laughing, and I'm like, nah, I doubt. He said, nah, I doubt that'll happen though, because you know, it's because like he hasn't had sex. You know, he hasn't had sex whatsoever. So that's the reason why he hasn't had sex, and his libido is like literally skyrockets through the air. And it's like the most craziest thing in my personal opinion. I was just like, damn, dude. Like even for me, I have my moods from like, I have my moods where I need to be fertile too as well, from time to time as well, you know. So I'm like, it's like relatable. It's like pretty relatable thing. It's just kind of like, yeah, I understand, you know. We have our good times. We have our good times where we talk or so, or we have our head ass hours too.
Numbers paint a revealing picture. Among 18 to 29
everyone here will find somebody. The only person who won't find is me, so I won't find my lucky someone.
As single edged up slightly.
There's a reason
from 32% in 2019 to 34% in 2022. But for men, the increase is far more dramatic, going from 51% to 63%.
Nah, that's crazy, bro. Holy shit. I didn't know things were that bad, bro. And again, the same discrepancy, but even worse in the situation as before. How are 63% of men in Gen Z reportedly single in 2022? We are now in 2025, so it's gotta be worse.
Well, because they all look at VTubers. They became a tier 3 sub to Pokimane, or a tier 3 sub to Amaranth, you know? I'm just saying, you know? Have you seen the Rule 34 about VTubers? There's a lot of them. Like straight up, there's like a shit ton. There's like a shit ton of like Rule 34 for like VTubers. It's fucking crazy in my personal opinion.
But in 2022, only 34% of women. I mean, mathematically speaking, 63 minus 34, that is a 29% discrepancy. So again, the same logic applies. This 29% discrepancy of women versus men who are reportedly not single and are in relationships. Either multiple women are dating the same guy knowingly or not, or a lot of Gen Z women are just dating older guys, millennials, Gen X's, boomers, and...
Yeah. I've seen that before. A lot of younger women want older men because, number one, older men. Well, this always been a thing or so. There's always been a thing throughout like time as well. You know, they want a guy who is like well put off together, has a good income, kind of, you know, set up very well, you know, and all this other stuff, and you know, it's just kind of like, you know, it's kind of like,
the such, which leaves a 29%
yeah, stability,
increased percentage of men compared to women who simply just don't have access, again, to relationships, sex, eventually marriage, and are just out here floating around in the ether without any love, intimacy, or interest from other.
It's funny because my friend who's like, who I told you guys has like a really large stamina or so when it comes to like sex and stuff like that, right? It's not like he's like sad or lonely or depressed or anything like that, that he doesn't have somebody. He's like kind of like enjoying life, you know? He's just kind of like sitting back and just enjoying life, playing video games, you know? Because like he doesn't have to worry about like having kids or anything like that, because all of his friends, all of his like high school friends had relationships, right? But then they got married. Some of them got married early. Some of them got kids early, and unfortunately, you know, they became tied to their family. Some of them don't hate it. Some of them kind of do, kind of a little bit regret it, but like it's not like they full on regret it. It's like they're like, man, I wish I did had a little bit more free time in my 20s or so, because like now they're kind of like, because some of them specifically are kind of feel a little bit like, I wouldn't say like bad, but I think they're like a little bit burnt out or so. Just by like a smidge or so, right? Because they won't have time to like hang out with his friends and everything like that, right? So like my friend specifically is like, he tells me, he's like, oh yeah, you know, my high school friends, you know, they all have kids, you know, some of them have kids, some of them don't, you know, but they have a spouse or so, and then like, or they have like a girlfriend or whatnot, and they usually spend time together and stuff like that. So, but if the population decreased by fertility, I'm not really seeing the issue. The problem is with that, right? The older generation, like the generation that's coming up to become old, right? If there's no new kids coming in to replace those, you can kind of see the decline of what's happening there, you know? For us in the void, like some of us can reproduce asexually, so there's not really a problem for some of us, you know, to basically make kids, because we could just asexually reproduce, some of us. Hey God.
Gen Z women. And again, we need to find a solution to this, because this is not sustainable.
Even Gen Z icon Billie Eilish has opened up about the effects of early exposure to porn. She revealed in an interview that she started watching porn at just 11 years old.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, 11 years old? Yeah, that's crazy, to be honest.
And it completely messed her up. Eilish says, I think it really destroyed my brain, and I feel incredibly devastated that I was exposed to so much porn.
Now, as much as I can't really say I'm a fan of Billie Eilish's music or some of the things she decides to post online, like sometimes she's just way too freaky, like...
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I've heard, yeah, she can be a little bit freaky, to be honest, but I guess some people like that, I guess, you know. There are some guys who are into that, so...
Calm down. But one thing I will say is the fact that she's completely right. She says she was exposed to porn at 11. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I've ever said this or revealed this on my channel before or any of my social media pages, but I personally, speaking, was exposed to porn at just the early age of 10 years old. Now, it's crazy that I'm even revealing that, but it's fucked up, man. I'll honestly say it was the worst thing I've ever been exposed to in my entire life. And when you're a young mind like that, it does distort the reality of what relationships should be and how you should make love to a woman, your girlfriend, your wife, whatever. And
it kind of really depends though. Like if your girlfriend or your wife is like into those stuff, then it's not really much of a difference, you know? Like let's say for example she's into the BDSM stuff, or she wants to try the BDSM stuff, you know? Well then you just fucking try it, you know? It kind of really depends on each woman, you know. Some of them just wants normal loving sex, you know. Some of them want hardcore. Some of them want BDSM. Some of them want to be treated by pet play, you know. Yeah, but the hormones defeat that though at the end of the day, you know. hormones become an issue when they skyrocket. So, but from how I see it, it's a lot of low-level jobs that are taken by AI, and since Gen Z is scared to have kids, you only really have stable people having kids more often than not, and I prefer that future. When was I introduced? When was I introduced to porn? What's equivalent? I don't know what age it is, to be honest. Let me see. Hold on. What ages is this? What ages is this for you guys? I don't really know off the top of my head. Oh, okay. For me, because I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but everything is kind of a bit of a blur, so because I don't remember too much about my past. At least from like this realm, anyways. It was around elementary school. I do remember. I don't remember what age specifically, but it was in elementary school, and I remember going through, like, me and my younger sister, we were going through the video cassette tapes. Well, the VHS anyway. We had like a bin or so of VHS, right? It was like underneath the television. And it was like a cabinet or so. We had like a basket full of VHSs and cassettes or so. And we didn't have that many VHSs, so we were kind of looking around to see what was there to find or so. We actually found these are from my ex stepdad, well, my ex dad, I should say, not stepdad, my bad, ex dad. There was actually two. I do remember their names because they were so vivid. The names were so fucking vivid. I can never forget the names for the videotapes for them. One of them was called Obsession, and the other one was called Black Man and Butt Woman. I can't say the other one though, but it starts with an A. You can understand which one it is. Those were the two that we found. We didn't know what it was because we were so young. Because we thought, because at the beginning of the video, it looked like a off-brand cheap superhero movie for black man. It's supposed to be Wonder Woman. It's supposed to be Batman and Wonder Woman, but instead of Batman and Wonder Woman, it was Black Man and a woman. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it. That's why. So, because it's gonna be on YouTube. That's the reason why. I remember that specifically, and we watched it. We didn't understand what was happening. We were all kind of confused and everything. Yeah. It was a parody. These are parody movies, except for Obsession. I don't think Obsession was a parody movie. Obsession was more of a it was like a drama show. It was like a drama movie, but like I guess like the adult version of it, because it had like twists and turns and like kind of like, oh my god, how dare she do that, you know, basically, and all this other stuff. I guess you could say the best way you can say it, it's like it was like old school. It was like literally old school NTR. Like, yeah, if it was the modern day of NTR, like it was straight up like NTR. Yeah, I think that's probably like the best way. I think that's the best way. I think that's my first exposure to NTR. And that was like pretty much it, you know. Yeah, that was it. We kind of like watched it. We kind of like watched it like a little bit and one time. Actually, we only watched it like one time because we have no idea what the fuck it was. Like we were confused. Me and my sister and I were confused or so. We were know what we were watching or so. I mean, then we just kind of put it away afterwards. It was just kind of like, you know, and it's pretty much about it. I think the first thing I saw wasn't even porn. It was a recording of a mentally ill. I don't know if she was mentally ill. That's just what the article theorized. Girl stripping in a restaurant, and it's devolved at people putting food on her. Oh, I see. My first time in watching hentai, well, not really watching hentai. It was like a GIF. It was like a GIF of a hentai. Was from a was in middle school. I think it was in middle school. Yeah, I think it was in middle school in this realm. Because we didn't had any of that stuff or so back in the outer realms. Yeah.
And I believe a lot of people like Billie Eilish, like myself, and a lot of other Gen Z folk have experienced this and are probably too ashamed to even speak up about it. Personally, me, I wish I was never exposed to it, and I was exposed to it, unfortunately, by a guardian. I'm not trying to reveal anybody's information here, but it definitely was a guardian, somebody I was living with. They've since passed away now, but I would say my exposure to that really had a detriment on my life, and I think it was incredibly irresponsible. If you're gonna
Would I say it's a detriment to my life? No, I wouldn't say it's a detriment to my life, to be honest. For me personally, I don't feel like it's a detriment to my life because it's a part of life at the end of the day. So
gonna be partaking
now,
in that
personally, I wouldn't show my kids that anytime soon, but I would talk about it later down the line or so when they get older, right? When they get to puberty. But I wouldn't show my kids none of that stuff. So.
stuff with kids in the house. Do it in the
Yeah,
privacy.
because puberty is
home,
different, right? Because they're
where son or
growing,
your
they're
daughter can
changing.
come across it accidentally while you're doing what you're doing. Like, it's wow. This is like a therapy session, man. Like, bro, you realize that you have trauma sometimes, and you don't talk about this shit for damn near over a decade. And yeah, that's all I'll say about that. But porn, yo, we gotta shield kids away from this shit, man. Shit's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
She said that when she started having sex, she wouldn't say no to things that felt uncomfortable or wrong because she thought she was supposed to enjoy them based on what she had seen in porn. And people, especially young people, are watching a lot of porn.
The problem is like you gotta know, well for us, right? For us specifically, like we know the difference that it's fake. You know, it's not real. You know, the only thing that's like real or so, it's like the amateur stuff. The amateur stuff is what's basically real. You know, mostly the stuff that's like normal porn is like it's not real. You know, that's why personally like. You know, that's why personally at the same time, you know, that's why I watch like hentai, because it's more number one, it's more enjoyable to watch. And it doesn't feel like it's boring, you know, because for me personally, I enjoy like watching tentacles, so that's pretty much just what it is.
Study found that sites like Pornhub, Xvideos, and XNXX had more traffic than every other site in the US except Amazon and Yahoo. In 2023, the website reported it had more than 100 million visits per day, which means more monthly visits than those to Netflix.
Well, it's because, you know, they're watching that new Genshin. They're watching that new Genshin animation, you know. The slime Genshin animation, if you guys know what I mean.
TikTok, Pinterest, and Instagram combined.
Now, if that doesn't highlight the massive issue we have in society right now that we have, and I don't know what will. This is unsustainable. Imagine if all that energy, right, that Gen Z ages people 18 to 24 visiting P-Hub and all these other pornographic websites used to visit those sites were used to create long-lasting relationships, homes, families, or even positive things like hitting the gym, working on academia, building a career, genuine connections with other life.
I'm like, the problem is like there's literally no problem of jerking it off when you have morning wood or when you have the urge, you know. I'm like, it is what it is, right? You know, you do your business, you know, do what you got to do. But the problem is like if it takes over like your life, it takes over like like actual normal functioning things that you need to do in society, like work and like, you know, and all this other shit, you can't really get it out of your brain or so, then that's completely something different. That's a problem, you know. That's literally a straight up an addiction. But if you're just kind of like just doing it normally, you know, having a normal routine, just jerking it to get rid of your morning wood or whatever other shit, it's just kind of like, you know, it is. Yeah, if you, yeah, like I said, you know, if you let it take over your life, that's it. You know, that's a problem. That's an addiction, you know. But if you're just doing it normally, it's not really a huge problem at the end of the day. It's just like, oh, I got morning wood. Okay, well, I can either wait here in bed to get rid of for it to go away, or just do the deed, you know. So that's pretty much about it. Like I told you that my one friend, right? Like my one friend who has like high stamina, like he can't do anything about it, you know. So he just prays that it doesn't happen on a day that he has to work or so. So that's the only thing. He's like, he prays that God is like, please don't let this shit happen during work day. Because like he'll have a problem with it specifically. But you know, it's because his libido, it's because he has such a high libido, he can't do anything about it, you know. So that's the only problem. So like his libido is massive because he hasn't had intercourse yet. So he just really needs to, he just needs to do it. I think in my personal opinion, I think this was my theory or so. If he actually does it or so, I think it'll go away, you know, in my personal opinion. Like porn has its issues like anything else, but it stigmatizes more for some reason. Well, you're supposed to jerk it off anyways. Like the science has been proven. Like if you don't jerk it off, you know, you will get I think if I remember correctly, you'll get some type of cancer or so if you don't jerk it off. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. So like the he needs to test your theory. That's true, but like he's kind of chilling right now. He's kind of not really looking for somebody right now because he says he's gonna let it happen naturally, you know. Like he's not gonna go on a dating website or do whatever other shit, you know, to find it. He's like, he'll do it naturally. That's how he is, or so that's how he's always been. He's like, I'd rather for it to happen naturally, you know, when some girl comes up to me and talks to me, you know, and we kind of hit it off, you know, then, you know, it'll work that way, you know. So he's not gonna go on a dating website or anything like that. So
like-minded individuals. Imagine if all that time was focused on other positive things. Like this shit is, yo, I started this video out like thinking this shit was gonna be like funny, but now as I've like progressed through this thing, I'm kind of like, this is kind of sad, man. It really is, bro. I mean, yo, I didn't mean to make this a depressing video. I'm just, yeah. But feel free to sound off your comments in the comment section down below. All links are down below in the description. If you have any other video topics you need to react to or talk about, you already know what to do. And until next time, everybody, stay safe out there.
You know, like I said, as long as it doesn't take your life, like as long as it doesn't take over your life, you know, to do like normal essential like adult things that you need to do, then yeah, you're fine. You can still jerk it off, you know. In my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with it, you know. So, but that's just my personal opinion, you know, because they did say like if you don't like, let's see. So if a man doesn't ejaculate, the body reabsorbs the sperm. This is not harmful and it doesn't cause any known health problems. What happens to sperm? The possible side effects. Some people may experience blue balls or pain due to sexual arousal that doesn't end in orgasm. Some people may experience different emotions when they haven't ejaculated for a long period of time. Potential causes of any ejaculation: diabetes, infections, medications, nerve damage, nervous system disorders, spinal injuries, testicular cancer treatment. Yeah, if I remember correctly, you do get some kind of cancer or something if you do not, like, if you don't, you know, let me see. Let's see, what happens if a man doesn't masturbate? Bad side effects. That's what I want. Because there's also bad side effects. Yeah, for males, some evidence point to increase of risk of prostate cancer. Yeah, flushing out the pipes. Every so often is probably a good idea. There are known risks associated with not masturbating. Masturbation is a normal and healthy behavior, but it's not necessary for the physical or emotional being, you know. You just gotta do it from time to time, because like you will get prostate cancer apparently. So you get a high risk of getting prostate cancer. So for those who don't know, you know. But yeah, I was like, I know for a fact you get like some kind of type of cancer or something if you don't jerk it. So, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. But overall, you know, that's just a little bit of my, you know, my personal opinion. So you're telling me I'm cooked? What are you talking about? What, you don't jerk off or something? But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. Yeah, no. What? As long as you do it just normally, you're fine, you know? But if you don't do it at all, then I don't know. You do you, man. Don't change anything anyway, so it's up to you. His hope is doomed. But yeah, that's just my personal, that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, it's like, it's very interesting to see that Gen Z is like avoiding sex. Well, there's multiple reasons why that Gen Z is not having sex at the end of the day. But yeah. Anyways, if you don't nut when jerking off, will it count or nah? Not too sure actually. You're gonna have to look into that. So, but anyways, that's the end of the video. And Gen Z not having the smecks. No more smecks, chat. No more smecks. Not in my Christian church channel here. That's the end of the video. And peace.